You can still talk. It's only 1:27. You still have 3 minutes. Right. That's my drink, Bridget. Well, you can space them out a little bit. They're a little tight. Jason kind of put them all on top of each other. Jason didn't realize it's 2024 body sizes, not right. Bridget, can you That's fine. I wasn't sure. You know, you can never tell. I can't believe this room is not more crowded. It's a little it is. We're gonna need more chairs. More chairs. I see multiple other people from the exec team out there. Yeah, because I see Terrell and Cameron and Jared and Phil will probably be coming. Sarah. Well, Cameron's not staying, so. He goes by Cam too. All right, we're gonna get started a little bit early here. After the musical chairs is done. Also, can somebody turn the volume up a little bit? This is too low. Test, test. How's that volume? Okay. All right, we're going to get started. We have a lot to talk about today, so welcome to Management Q&A. The first thing that we're going to do, after we apparently forgot how many people are on the exec team, there are multiplying, is I'm going to have Terrell introduce the person sitting next to you. Okay, so you come on up. You're going to start for us today and start by introducing Cam and then whatever else you need to talk about.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Terrell Fairley. I'm the manager of IT and Information Services here at Woodland Pond. Today, we have a guest, Cameron Vidas. He's joined us recently, and he will be helping out with our tech services here. So welcome, Cameron.
Thank you very much, everybody. As Terrell stated, I'm going to be the new help with all of your technical needs. My name is Cameron. I come from Long Island. I've been working with computers for that's right, Long Island. I've been working on computers now for the last 10 years, and I've been really excited now to be able to offer my help to all of you today. Whether it be your phone, your television, your iPads, no matter how big or small the issue, I will be the new person to be there to help you. If you see me in the hallway, please feel free to reach out to me, grab me and let me know if you have an issue, and we can get everything fixed as fast as we can. I know technology's been evolving very quickly lately, and it's a little bit hard to keep up with sometimes, but me and Terrell are here to make sure that step is just a little bit easier for all of you. And I'm very happy to be working with all of you. Thank you.
And Cam is actually a Woodland Pond record holder. He doesn't know this yet, but he has received more applause in the first week of him being here than any other staff member has ever received. So for those of you that have worked with him so far, you're definitely making a good impression. All right, you can excuse yourself if you want, or you can stay. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. Okay. Sarah?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Leonard, the Resident Services Director. So I just have one quick announcement about an activity on Friday. Friday, October 18th at 2 in the classroom. Join Mel Ocean for an interesting discussion on the atom. Mel will tell you the story of human endeavor from the ancient Greeks to the present about how through experiment and thought, the secrets of the atom were slowly revealed to find us on the cusp of an entirely new age. His talk is resident friendly with minimal mathematics, and his audience will leave with the ability to completely befuddle their grandchildren. So I bring this up because there's limited seating. And so if you want to come to this program, please sign up at the concierge to assure that you have a seat in the classroom. And that's all I have, unless anyone has anything for me. All right, we've got crickets. On to the next. Bridget, next.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bridget Blum, Director of Human Resources. I have a couple of announcements today. The first thing I want to start with, I'm just going to actually segue off of the comment that Michelle made. Congratulations to Cam. She is absolutely correct. I shared with her yesterday just a quick little tidbit about the fact that Cam has received a record number of applauds in his first week. And I thought that was very interesting because I had noticed that there were quite a few left, and that was wonderful. So obviously an excellent addition, and congratulations. So on the topic of applauds, though, while Cam has received a number of applauds, which were all really nicely written, many employees receive applauds, which are wonderful, and they come through really, really detailed. Some people spend an enormous amount of time really writing what the employees do wonderful, well, exceptional, because that's really what the applaud purpose is. It's to recognize employees who go above and beyond and do exceptional things for this extra recognition. But lately, what we've noticed is some applauds are coming through just entirely blank. And so the resident is putting their name and then just the employee's name, and they're sticking it in our box. And it's not telling us anything at all other than the employee's name. And we're just not considering that to be any kind of exceptional service. And I just hope that you understand that. So employees do receive lots and lots of applauds, but when there's nothing written, we're just not going to consider that to be exceptional. So just take the time to tell us something that the employee is doing for this applause, okay? And, you know, some have a sentence, 2 sentences. Some people write front and back. Some people write a whole extra page, send an email, whatever it is. Just tell us what it is that the employee is doing to deserve this, because we give it to the employee. So we want them to know what they're doing to deserve this recognition, okay? Sorry, I just need to get my water. All right. On Friday, the 25th, in here from 10 to 3 p.m., we're going to be hosting a blood drive. Some folks have signed up for that already. So there are a good number of time slots, though, available. So if you haven't already signed up, please make sure that you do so that we can get all of those slots reserved. And then the last announcement is that we are approaching the end of the year. So the Rove Committee, I see their little thermometer in the lobby, or, you know, off by the hostess station. I know that they have not quite yet achieved their full goal for participation. So just a little, you know, last ditch effort. Shout out for that committee, rewarding our valued employees. If you haven't made your contribution, I know that they will never turn away a donation or a contribution from one of our residents or neighbors. So please make sure that you do that for this year. Any questions for me? Sure. Yes.
Thank you. I've been getting a few emails directly to me about some of my staff that deserves an applaud.
Mhm.
Is there any way for me to take that email? I have been sharing it with the employee, but is there any way for me to take that email and attach it to an applaud?
So if you get an email directly from a resident that is intended to be an applause, just forward it directly to me and we will consider that to be an applause. And what I do is I highlight, applause, and we just put it right into the folder. So actually don't share it with the employee directly. Send it to us, because then we'll put it into our folder and it will get shared, into the newsletter and through the normal applause process.
Sounds good.
So what happens is they get collected for the month, they get announced in the next month's newsletter, and then all of the announced employees are eligible to come and receive a $5 gift card to a couple of designated different areas. Okay, all right. Next up, who wants to go? Philip.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Philip Mail. I'm the Administrator, Director of Long-Term Care for the Health Center. And when I don't have any breaking news, I just like to do a did you know? So today I'm going to talk about the activities department. So the Health Center has a dedicated activities department. And one of the many important things they do that's timely for right now is they assist residents with voting. So we know we're getting up to that exciting time of year. And so the activity staff does coordinate with folks in the health center to arrange absentee ballots, or even to get people to the polls if they prefer to vote in person. That's not the majority of folks, but they are actively involved in that. So if you have a friend or family member over there who hasn't been contacted yet by activities, I'm sure that's going to happen, but also don't hesitate to give a little nudge, maybe a call over to Sue. But we want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to exercise their right to do that. Additionally, the activity staff, they meet with every single resident individually to determine what some of their interests have been in the past, what they may still be now. And we really do our best, as we say, to find a way to yes. So a lot of the programming that you see on the activities calendars are based on multiple discussions with many residents. But also there's a lot that goes on that's not included in those calendars. So if there's some folks who have a particular interest or hobby and it's not necessarily shared by a large group, there's still a lot going on where we'll try to facilitate that person being able to, I see someone crocheting or knitting. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant on the difference. But if there's people who are interested in that, we try to make sure that they get the right materials for that. We've had people interested in both here and another facility work at ham radio. We've actually made that happen. All sorts of different interests. So what I always encourage folks is don't self-censor. Don't come to the health center thinking, oh, that could never happen. I'll never be able to do this or that again, because I would bet we can find a way for that to happen. And also an important note, and we're trying to stress this as a community more and more, activities are held, as we know, throughout Woodland Pond, over here in independent living, as well as various areas of the health center. They are all open to everyone. Many of you may have seen folks from the health center come over for some activities over here. We're encouraging them to do so. I hope you are too. It helps people feel integrated and welcome and still part of a community. So we will continue our efforts with that. Is there any questions for me?
Just to piggyback on that, and then Margaret's got a question. I don't know if you think you mentioned this. There's 4 full-time activity staff members in the health center. So it's a significantly larger department there and a much larger component per capita than it is in independent living, because we really want to dedicate staff, and we also have a per diem. One of those activities people, or 2, are certified music therapists. So it's really a fantastic team, and I'm glad that you brought it up. Do you want to just announce about family council meeting?
Oh, yes. So we have, is it quarterly we do it? Yeah, we have quarterly family council meetings in the health center. We facilitate that both in person. Some people meet in the classroom. and it's also a Zoom meeting. And that way we are able to reach out and have conversations with family members that we have some that live in California and all different other states. So we're able to facilitate those meetings, answer some questions, and talk about the good things that are going on. And the next one is October 29th at 5 p.m. The Zoom link has gone out to those interested. If you are connected to someone in the health center and you'd like to participate in that, once again, Activities is the place to go. You can contact them and receive the Zoom link for that, or go to the classroom on that date. There was a question, Margaret?
It's not really a question. I just wanted to say thank you to the people from the independent living that the opportunity to sign up to be a neighbor in the health center. We had, I think, 20 people.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure that everyone is going to be able to fit in, but they were wonderful. And I just wanted to say thank you to those people that did, and invite anyone that didn't have the opportunity to also join us.
Yeah, thank you for that, Margaret. I want to echo that as an important omission that I had there. And Margaret and the Health Center Committee have really championed this. In addition to all the services we try to provide, the neighbor program that's been started, that's made up from independent living people, really is a very, very important component of what we do. You don't have to have any special, exciting talent. You don't have to juggle or anything like that. Simply keeping someone company, playing a hand of cards, reading, sitting by someone and just conversing. All of that is incredibly important, and we are deeply appreciative of all the efforts there. Oh, we got another.
It's just I'm responding to something I heard the other day from someone who lives here.
Okay.
Are you fully staffed with nursing assistants at night?
At night,
Yeah.
we always have some openings. Every once in a while, we hit the threshold, and we're all excited about that for the 1 or 2 weeks that lasts. Turnover is especially high in healthcare. We remain far above the minimum staffing requirements. The state, for better or worse, has made it crystal clear on what's enough and not enough based on census and acuity. And we have not fallen below that in years. So when you say, are we understaffed at nights? There may be some nights where there was a call in we didn't expect that came in late. That can happen at any shift. When we get the call in with ample time, we're generally able to fill that slot. If they come in late, we try to get people to come in early or come in late for their next shift. But no, it is not true that we are understaffed at night.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm it for myself.
Sure. Okay. I will pass it on.
Hi, everyone. Robert Dunn, Director of Environmental Services. A couple things I wanted to touch on. I want to thank you for your patience with the new company doing the window cleanings. We made out rather well this year. They moved rather quickly through the place. We had 1 or 2 little hiccups, but I think that was just them learning our process and us learning, with them. If anyone really had a great experience and wants to share their testimonial, they asked if there are any testimonials that you want to give, then send it to us. But I think, we learned a little bit and they learned a little bit when it came to the window cleanings and whatnot. Any questions on the window cleaning or any issues that you guys had? No, I know there was a couple where we missed a couple spots or we came to you earlier than you kind of expected, but we'll work those bugs out. But overall, it was a really great experience. But if you have something, really great to say, they wanted to know. So you could just email that to me if you want to. Second note also, we've got 41 annuals to finish up before the end of the year. So if you're on the annual list or you haven't had it this physical year, give myself or April a call and we'll get that scheduled for you. We do have some holidays coming up, so we kind of work around those holidays. But I'd like to get everyone finished up. This would be our 2nd year in a row we've completed all the annuals, which has never happened before. So go ahead, Rolf. Hold on.
did a nice job on the windows. My question is, will the outside of the building itself, the siding, be cleaned?
You mean the siding and stuff?
Yes.
I'll leave. You can ask Tom that question. I only do windows.
All right.
All right.
We'll ask that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for
Unless
me?
he wants to answer it now.
He's got his own time.
No.
Yeah. He doesn't want to steal. Yeah. Any other questions for me regarding stuff? No? Okay. Thank you. Hey, Tom, they got some questions for you.
Good morning. I'm Tom Tango, Director of Plant Operations. Just want to say a couple things and then I'll take some questions. And for what I'm not going to take questions about right now is anything about the storage cages. We'll do that after this meeting. But for right now, just a couple things. Lindsay sent an email out yesterday. Friday morning, a crane is coming to take stuff off of the health center roof. And it won't be there long. But he needs that spot available that we moved to a few months ago for him. It's in the email. It's just like 8 or 9 spots. So just make sure that your car isn't there. Tomorrow, I'll have Mark, my guys, make sure that if there is a car, we'll come talk to you directly. But again, that's just Friday morning. You probably saw a big lift out there the past couple of days, and they've just completed renovating our lightning protection system on the entire facility. So if we get hit by a lightning bolt right now, we should be okay. That all got tightened up, replaced, and inspected. Also coming up right about now, it's October. What normally happens here at Woodland Pond, the pool pack dies, the fireplace doesn't light, so that all happened today. But the pool pack is up and running, fireplace is fixed, and tomorrow I'll be meeting with the new snow plow contractor. So then pretty soon we can talk about snow, another good topic here. This year we have a new contractor who has not done snow plowing for us. We're meeting with him tomorrow to work out, the logistics of how it all works, things like that. So again, like I do every year, ask for a little bit of patience the first storm until we learn things. And while I ask for patience, I also ask for feedback quickly. Like I always say every year, it doesn't help us to know that something didn't get plowed 3 weeks ago. Like if there's something that isn't happening, let us know. All right. To answer Ralph's question, we are not going to be power washing the entire building right now. No, we are going to be power washing very soon, certain areas that are worse than others. Yeah. But as far as a complete power washing of the building, no, not with the renovations that are coming up. So that'll be kind of wrapped into that. Questions?
Tom, a couple of months ago, you said you would be power washing the cottages, but it got interrupted, I think, by the big dig.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah, we have to get back to that. Yes.
Are you going to still be doing that?
Yes, that's the intent. Yes.
I'll come back over there.
Oh, I know what Bill Walls is going to ask. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're aware the stone
Yeah.
facing fell off.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions related to that. First
All
of
right.
all, when I get covered because it's exposed right now, and second, is that a potential problem for other cottages similarly situated? Because if the steel is not really watertight, water gets back there, and that's what happened to me.
Couple things. For those of you who don't know, in front of the cottages, below the bedroom windows, there are some cultured stone decoration panels. The one on Mr. Walls's cottage fell off. Those of you remember, we replaced all of the planters in front of the cottages because they were failing due to some poor design. Apparently, the same designer designed the way that the panels go on the front of the houses. And so I'm expecting to have some problems with them, not just Mr. Walls's cottage. I am in the process right now of A, fixing yours quickly, and B, getting some quotes together to replace all of them next year. I'm not ready to stand here right now and say exactly what we're doing on all that. That's where we're discussing all that right now. But yeah, we do need to address that issue before others start coming off. Right. It's decorative. And right now, we'll probably put something on yours. But right now, with that paper that's on there, the way it is right now, water's not going to come in. But we are going to put something on there pretty quickly if we don't fix it before that. But again, I need to get a lot more numbers in and a lot more things squared away about that before I make definite statements.
Hi, I have two questions. One, when is the heater going to go on top of the pool?
Oh, the new one?
New one.
I'm expecting it about 6 or 8 more weeks. There was a problem with the pool pack this morning, and HVAC Dave, he did some pretty good MacGyvering work, and it's back on right now. And it needs a part that we just ordered, but it should be fine until we get the new unit. Yeah.
Also, I was on the 4th floor north. There was a door at the end of the hall. Light was on. I poked my head in. It's a huge space, unfinished. I mean, there's no floor. Could that be floor put in and that be used as storage?
No. All of our attic spaces we cannot use for storage by building code. We can't. Just like when the fire department or the building inspector comes around for the inspections and they look in all your mechanical spaces, and like they'll complain if there's a mop in there or a broom. Same thing. We can't have anything stored in the attics either. So believe me, we wish we could. And we did look into it. Yeah.
Tom, I'm hesitant on turning on our fireplace. Haven't used it, of course, through the summer, and it was a mild winter too.
Right.
So where is the propane coming from, and is it safe to turn it on tonight?
I would say it's natural gas. It's from the street, and it's safe to turn it on. But anytime you even have a question about it, just put a work order in, and Johnny or Dave will come over and turn it on for you.
I can turn on the switch.
Yeah, but they'll turn the switch on, but they'll verify. I mean, if you have any question at all, just don't hesitate to put a work order in, and we'll come and check that out. Yeah. Yeah, and then I think I'm going to let some other people go after 2 more questions, and then I'll be back later.
How is the pool being maintained? This morning, I noticed they put water in the spa, but not into the pool, and they were pouring chemicals in.
In the past couple of days, there was an issue with some chemicals that went in that didn't disperse as they should have, and that's why the pool was off for a bit, and then we cleaned that out. Eric is a certified pool guy. He's like great, but also the pool, the whole system, the whole pool chemical equipment is maintained by Ecolab. So I mean, it's a very regulated, controlled environment, system that's going in there. So I mean, as to your exact question, I'm not sure what.
Well, I was concerned that it was closed at 7 this morning.
Well, it was closed. Yeah, it was closed just because we wanted to make.
Why?
Just because Eric wanted to make sure that the particles all came out, so that they didn't look bad. That's all. All right, one more, and then I'll pass it off to someone else, and I'll be back later.
The grass on the hillside between north and central wings was badly torn up by the crane. I hope that you will do something about fixing that.
I was going to leave it like that. Yeah, no, I was going to leave it like that. Yeah. No, I know that. Yeah, no, I know.
Are you going to do something about fixing it up?
Yes, of course. Yeah, but they just finished today.
You said that when there was a crane out there earlier, months ago, and that grass never got fixed.
I'll check into that. But all right. But yeah, but the lift that was here for the lightning arrest, they did that, and they did a couple other bits of damage we need to address too. But like they just finished today. So, all right, I'll be back. We can talk about storage. And in the interim, Shannon will be up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Scatoro, the Director of Marketing. Not too much has changed on our end here. We're still growing our waiting list and keeping everything full. Right now, we have 73 units on the wait list, and that is equivalent to 122 people. They are all future residents, so they all get a future resident ID badge so they can come and visit Woodland Pond whenever they want to participate in things, dine here, swim, try things out, meet you, et cetera. Some of them visit pretty frequently. Others visit, once in a while. We appreciate all of you that reach out, say hello, dine with them, talk to them and so on. So please continue to do so. One other thing I just want to mention is the resident forum. I know Michelle announced it during her weekly address as a reminder that it's there for you to use. For those of you that do not know what the resident forum is, it is on the resident portal, which you can get to from the main page of our website. It's right on the top bar. It says resident portal. Click on that. There's a password. It's Woodland, all lowercase letters. And then if you scroll down, you'll find the resident forum. It's very easy to use. You can post whatever questions, comments, selling something. I've seen quite a few people are starting to use it more and more now. Some don't know what it is. So if you have any questions, give me a call or call concierge and we can help you. And I think we're also going to look to put another training session on the calendar in the near future too, to get everyone more actively involved in using it. That's all that I have. Any questions for me? Yes, it's open to every single resident of Woodland Pond. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dave Roberts, Capital Projects Manager. I'll give you a brief update because I know we have a lot on the agenda today, but really the focus for the last couple of weeks has been allowing our design team to prepare documentation for our application to the Village Planning Board. And so we've had a couple of deadlines last week and this week towards that end. And that'll give the Planning Board time to review the documents before our projected meeting in the middle of November. So that's an exciting date for me because, that's the first time that we'll be presenting in front of a public forum and in front of the Planning Board, our full Planning Board submission. And that is, of course, for the alterations and additions to the existing facility. So in the last couple of weeks, during this time when the design team are focused on those documents, we have done, we've had some focus groups to do with the health center, the community garden and so on. So we've received really good feedback. And of course, that feedback in turn goes back to the design team. Once we have the Planning Board submission together, we will regroup and start to focus more again on the health center redesign. Next week, we'll be presenting the financials to the board, and that's on next Wednesday. And what that means is giving the board a full picture as to what our debt capacity is. We've been working with with our developer, Greystone, as well as our construction manager, Wilson, to determine the, a more accurate pricing for the alterations and additions, and so that we have an understanding about what the first tranche of financing can finance, and putting that package together so that the board has a fuller understanding of how the money is being spent and what we can afford at this time. So they're the main sort of things on the schedule at the moment, and I'll take any questions. Yeah.
Are the planning board meetings open to public?
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, because I remember we would go to the planning board in Gardner when proposals for buildings and stuff. So we could visit, we can sit down.
Yeah, I'll let you know, because often I know a lot of planning boards after COVID, they started recording all their meetings as well. So I'll find out about that and advise as to whether you can watch online or whether it's, I'm sure they're in person now, but whether they actually record them. And we've had one preliminary meeting that was, with the planner and, to run them through the project so they have an understanding. But this is the first time that we'll be having a public meeting. Yeah. Yes.
Dave, are you going to the planning board to discuss just the expansion or the expansion and the acquisition?
Well, at this stage, we're not talking about the expansion at all. This planning board application is purely about the alterations and additions to the existing facility. So, and that's been intentional to keep the two applications separate, because we didn't want to slow down the process of doing the upgrades to the existing facility, have that slowed down by what is a much more complicated application for the expansion.
Yeah, since you've already had a meeting with the planning board, how warm or frosty is so far?
Oh, they were. I would say they're warm. They're certainly warm. I mean, we have a very good reputation with the village, and it was really about them understanding the scope, and so when we go in front of the planning board, there really shouldn't be any surprises for them. And our civil engineer, LRC, Ken Casamento, has been in front of them many times before, has a good rapport with the planning board. And so, this, if all is good, it should not be a complicated process.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Phil Cavallo, the Director of Dining Services. I do have a couple of pretty exciting pieces of news to share. Number one, I know that the menu is starting to get a little stale. Jared has been working diligently to produce an entirely new menu that's been modified slightly. November 2nd is our target date to roll out the new menu. It'll be a similar 5-week menu cycle, but it'll be a whole bunch of new things. It'll look a little bit different, and it'll have some new and exciting dishes on there. To help prepare those new dishes, we have, last night actually, I verbally sent out a job offer to an executive chef, which he accepted verbally. If all goes well, our team will be complete November 1st. Kitchen tours. Jared wants to show off everything that he does on a daily basis. So he wanted me to tell everybody about kitchen tours. On the next one is November 15th. And we encourage all to come see what we do and how clean we do it. So that's something that we encourage. And then also, if anybody has any questions that we can't answer here today, we encourage you to come as a guest to the dining committee meetings as well. Dining committee meetings happen the first Tuesday of every month. Those are the bits of information I have. Who wants to start with the questions? Hang on.
I know you like to use local food sources and businesses. Why not get the ice cream from Stewart's?
Stewart's does not do retail.
They don't.
No, I did look into it when you asked Neil about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jared? All right.
What does don't do retail mean?
So Stewart's is a small mom and pop company. They produce enough ice cream for themselves, all of their units, and a
But they
select
don't,
few.
they don't have anybody else sell it.
Correct.
I understand.
Yeah. Jason's up. You're welcome.
Wait, one more.
What time do I leave? So if I have to pick up my baby from daycare, I leave at about 4:15. If I don't, I'm here till about 6:30.
I must have gotten one daycare dates because I asked from you a couple of times. They said he's gone. So that's why I asked the question.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes I'm over in health center, but I'm typically here. What time did you ask? Okay.
My question was about the menu. Well, you answered that. You did very well because you won. Why do you eat this? Oh, Natty would like to know why the menu got so sparse.
You mentioned it being a little thin. I think that's putting it
I said stale, just because we
stale too. What happened?
We didn't have an executive chef. We didn't have a dining service director. There was just some bumps in the road, and Jared was in over his head. He tried as hard as he possibly could. But again, hopefully November 1st, we'll be fully staffed and raring and ready to go.
So our current system for menus right now is about that time that the menus do get stale. Right now, we've been running this menu for 5 months and 2.5 weeks. Every time we change a menu, it's for a 6-month period. So this is actually a little late for the complaints, to be totally honest. But this is about that time where things start to look old and, it's the same thing like over and over and over again. So we typically run 6-month cycles. And right now is the end of that 6-month period. So it's an incredible amount of work that goes into this. It takes multiple people. I make kind of a beginning menu that is breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it changes every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on where you're at. So it's 7 dinners with 5 entrees each, and then it's 5-week cycle. So I make this batch, and then I make copies, and then Phil looks at them, and then a couple other people in the kitchen look at them, and then they point out all the mistakes that I make, and then we go back through it, and there's another draft, and we go back through it, and there's another draft, and then within the first 5 weeks, so once November 2nd starts, we usually have about a 5-week full cycle where there's some issues with this over here, or maybe some changes we can make over there, and then we make changes again. So it's a constant process that goes into the menu. So we try to make everybody as happy as we can. We understand that, that's not realistic sometimes, but I think that the menu changes we're about to make will please
the majority.
The majority of people here. So I do apologize that they're getting old. It's been a long 6 months. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be quick. I'm Jason Irish, Director of Concierge and Communication Services. First thing I'll say, because Phil mentioned it as well, Philip, I'm sorry, not Phil. Voting. So we're going to have 5 different shuttles for voting. We're going to have 3 for early voting. The first one will be, this will all be in the Chanticleer this week as well, but the first will be Saturday, October 26th, 9 to 11 in the morning. October 30th is a Wednesday. We'll have that 11 to 1. Then the following Saturday, November 2nd, 9 to 11 in the morning. And then on Election Day, on the 5th, Tuesday, we'll have a shuttle in the morning, 9 to 11, and then 1 in the afternoon, 1 to 3. I know a lot of people or a lot of residents have absentee ballot, but if you need to go voting, again, pick one of those days. You can sign up at the concierge desk. Another thing I wanted to talk about quickly, this came up this week, a resident. So Spectrum, everyone knows how Spectrum works. You get billed for cable and internet through Woodland Pond. You'll get a bill from Spectrum directly for your telephone service and any additional cable boxes or services or channels. A resident dropped off a bill this week with an extra charge for some ultra internet. I don't know why we haven't talked it with them yet. What you should do on your next bill that you receive from Spectrum, just look it over. And if you have any questions, come see myself, Terrell, Cameron. We want to help you get your bills straightened out if they are in error. But again, you should be getting billed from Woodland Pond for just internet and television and then whatever else through Spectrum, and make sure that that's accurate. The last thing I'll talk about, and I talk about this every time, is your PERS pendant. If we request your PERS pendant to be turned in at the desk to have the battery replaced, assume that it does not work. So do not delay getting that PERS pendant to the desk to get it repaired, because if you try to use it and we ask for it, it may not work. Any questions about that or anything else? No?
I like to volunteer our car if anyone needs and support your van service for any of those days. I would like to help anyone who would like to stand with me on that line. It's long and
on election day?
Provide a car.
Thanks, Artie. Any other questions for me? Thank you.
Okay. Just to clarify, Tom is going to hold over after the meeting for specific questions that you have about the storage cages. But just to highlight that the storage cage memo, or you should have all received a storage cage memo at this point. I think they might have gone to the cottages too. I'm not 100% sure. They should have, only independent living apartment owners or residents should have a storage cage in independent living. They may have gone to you. You may not have a cage. You may have already relinquished your cage. But just a couple of things I want to point out to you. Your response to that cage, that memo is optional, obviously, but we do need a response from everyone. So if you have a question today about what's in the memo, the real simplest bottom line is that we have identified as part of our planning that we're going to need overflow space for things, and Woodland Pond is short on storage. So in order to convert the south storage room, and that's attractive because it has high ceilings, if there's construction materials that need to be stored, all of this is in an attempt to make sure that we are committed to interrupting you as little as possible during the construction process. So if we have to mobilize supplies, mobilize equipment that need to be here on site, we don't want to take over parking lots if we don't have to. We don't want to have plywood in the hallways, so we're looking forward to this. We know that we're going to be hopefully starting the first round of renovations in the late spring, and we want to give everyone ample time to get their items and belongings situated so that we can take those cages down with the intention of, once this is all said and done, putting them back. But a lot of you have very little in your cages. So for those that really don't need your cages, and you can relinquish a cage either in the north or the south storage, there will be a credit coming to you on your monthly bill. If you have not been to your cage recently, I would highly encourage you to go down there and spend some time, because I think some of you think that there's stuff in there that might not be, and it might be time well spent. And then that might help you answer your which of the options that you select. And to be clear, none of the options that we have on the memo result in a charge. There are dollar amounts on 3 of the options. Those all equate to some form of a credit, depending on what you're willing to give up or what you choose to give up. There are no additional charges to keep a cage. I want to make sure that that's very clear. So specific questions that you personally have, Tom will stay over for a little bit today after this meeting. And then you can continue to send us questions. They can go to Lindsay, they can go to Tom. And then everybody needs to get their answer in by November 14th so we can figure out what's going to happen. And then we'll get starting to get stuff moved. Okay. Also, let me ask you this question privately. Can they put stuff in the dump trailer? Okay. One of the things that will certainly be available to you as you do hopefully downsize, just because there's a lot of stuff down there, I don't know if a lot of residents are using, but if you get to that point, those items can either be donated for a free store, or we can help you dispose of them, or we have a team of residents here that works with a lot of different organizations in New Paltz to make sure things don't go into the landfill. So don't feel overwhelmed by that. We absolutely can and are willing to help, and we do have the ability to dispose of things that, maybe like old equipment or things that you just know are not in working order. We do have the ability to assist you in disposing of those things, okay? So please just don't feel overwhelmed, and we'll all get through it. And there will be no charge for that. You will see at some point today or this week, we have procured from Timely Signs no smoking signs for campus. It did not occur to me until we've had some employee turnover that, and it became an issue with someone, that if you were to come on this campus prior to us getting these signs, you would have no idea if you were a contractor or a vendor or a visitor that we're a no smoking campus. So those signs will be going up at the entrances, and you'll understand why we're doing that is because we know it's a no smoking campus, but we also want visitors to the campus to know and understand that. And this is something where we do learn and pay attention, because I anticipate that some of our contractors will be smokers. And as you all remember, I'm sure very fondly from the filming, a lot of the filming people were smokers. And much to all of our chagrin, they weren't taking no for an answer, as you remember. And we ended up getting those little ash buckets. Do you guys remember that? The little buckets? We're going to try to alleviate that before it ever becomes a problem. So this also ties in a little bit to that. I want to just briefly make sure that everyone has seen my 2 Tuesday consecutive discussions on my weekly updates about what is going on at the Amsterdam at Harborside, which is a CCRC in Long Island. We have 10 minutes left in the meeting, and I wanted to just briefly touch on it and then offer up an opportunity to discuss. So yesterday, I talked about a new article that had come out with an attached video on a CBS affiliate out of Long Island, where the emphasis this time around about the story was how the residents are feeling emotional, reacting to the potential loss of their homes and their entrance fees. It was obviously, for anybody that either read the article or watched the video, a much more emotional bit of information than the article that came out last week from Newsday. And I know from speaking to a number of you that that really kind of made things hit home about what these seniors might be facing. So if we looked at those articles, listen to my weekly address, you're aware that there's roughly 180 independent living residents. This is not affecting, they don't have assisted living and a nursing home like we do. It's not attached like that. So this is their independent living resident population. They, as you know, are less than 50% occupied. They have been for a long time, but their day-to-day experience at this point is questioning, how did we get here? Questioning what's going on tomorrow. Who can help us? Is there anyone? And just an overall general feeling of unease, fear. They're in their 90s on average at that community, which is older than our community, significantly older. So this is an older population of residents in buildings that are not full. They're losing staff hand over fist at this point. So it's probably feeling quite desperate to them, which is completely understandable. I tried to, and I want to continue to try to allay fears that any of you may have. This circumstance is exceedingly rare. As I talked about in my address last week, only once ever in prior history has there been a CCRC that's actually closed because of financial concerns, and it was not in New York. Out of currently 2,000 not-for-profit CCRCs in New York. I don't know the numbers on the for-profits, but in not-for-profits, only one has ever closed in the country. And the reason for that is because not-for-profit organizations, which obviously Woodland Pond is one of, when we have excess cash revenue in a particular month, that revenue goes right back into the programming. It goes right back into the Woodland Pond pot. There aren't stakeholders, there aren't owners, there is no owner of Woodland Pond. We're a not-for-profit corporation. And I think sometimes people think not-for-profit means cheaped out, but it really is mission-driven. You're reinvesting what you have back into the community. You're building back in. And there are a number of financial indicators that tell regulators, the bondholders, our auditors, the public about your financial health. And so we're constantly being evaluated. You know, we get audited every year. We get clean audits. That means opinions that say that these financial statements are properly prepared. We don't have internal control risk. They evaluate that. We have bond covenants that we have to meet. And if we don't, we're in an event of default. We consistently meet and exceed those. We have never missed a principal and interest payment. We have cash flow concerns that we want to make sure that we have. When I worked at Health Alliance, which was Kingston Hospital before I was here, in healthcare or long-term care, which is what we kind of fall into, the typical days cash on hand is 30 days. Ours at the end of 2023 was 200. Okay, so we're very strong. We've never missed a refund payment. Juxtaposed to the Amsterdam, they have not been paying refunds for the last 2 years. And they have over $30 million of refunds that are already due that are not being paid. So there is already financial harm that's been happening to family members, you know, of the deceased residents that have passed, and those refunds have not been paid. This is their third bankruptcy filing. They opened the same year we did. Okay. And as I said last week, to even have had one bankruptcy filing is a lot. And what happens in our industry when you file bankruptcy, again, it's not the common practice that the doors close. Okay. It's not as uncommon for bankruptcies to be filed, but when that happens, because all of our communities are debt financed, the first thing that happens is you go to the bondholders and you try to renegotiate the terms of your debt, right? So it's kind of like if you get in trouble with your mortgage, you're going to want to go to the bank and see if you can renegotiate the terms of your mortgage, right? Because as a homeowner, your biggest cost is typically your mortgage. So there is that first step to be able to go to the bondholders and say, listen, can we renegotiate the terms of this debt so our cash flow burden is less every month? And that's what the Amsterdam has done successfully the last 2 bankruptcies. But now the future is looking more bleak for them because the occupancy is so low. And that is where we have the biggest distinction between Woodland Pond and the Amsterdam. Also Glenarden, which is in Goshen, that just was purchased by another CCRC. We are the only CCRC in New York State that is 100% occupied. We have 73 units on our wait list, and we are not doing any active marketing. The only thing we're doing right now is just Google AdWords, so basically digital marketing. We had 2 marketing events this summer, and that's all the marketing that we're doing. And every meeting that comes forth, Shannon is telling you our wait list is growing, okay? Our momentum is like this, and it's been on a continuing trajectory like that. When we look forward to the future, and this is why the presentation to the board on Wednesday is so important, the board is singularly concerned on our financial longevity. Not singularly, but that is their primary concern. How are we all going to sleep at night knowing that Woodland Pond has a future, not just tomorrow, but in 20 years worth of tomorrows? Okay. And so the reason that all of this expansion and renovation and are we going to buy the land and all of this is taking so long, such a long time, it's going to be 3 years in January since we started working with the developer. And we still have not signed anything on the dotted line. We haven't purchased a piece of property. We haven't put a nail or a shovel in the ground, is because our board wants to make sure, certain positive, that we are able to capitalize on our momentum, on our demand, on our reputation, on our waiting lists, and not put this community at financial risk. There are many other organizations that would be moving much faster on this, okay? But not our board. And it's very important for you to know and understand that. We also have an element of transparency here that we were the first in the state to offer to our residents, which is resident membership on our board of directors, okay? It has always been our goal and our focus to make sure that you know and have access to know as much as we know. There's no reason for us to operate in the shadows, and we never have. I guarantee more of you have fallen asleep with me talking about finance numbers than at any other CCRC in the state and possibly the country. And I'm pleased to stand up here and ramble on about numbers because I want you to feel that assurance. I do not want you to ever feel like the residents in Long Island are feeling. And that is not just coming from me. That is coming from this entire team. Okay, they want to be able to look you in the eyes and tell you that we anticipated, we planned, we discussed and planned, and be able to say it to you from our hearts with eye contact, with heads up, and tell the same story to everyone that asks, because the story is the truth. Okay. I don't want to stand up here and talk until I'm blue in the face because it's just words. I'm just trying to convey that this is on all of our minds. I want to offer myself to anyone that has questions. I want to absolutely offer to you, just as Phil offered to have people come to the dining committee. You have a resident finance committee. Those meetings are the first Monday of every month at 1 o'clock. Every resident committee meeting is open to all residents. Attend those meetings. We go over the financials. Our audited financial statements are on the resident portal. The board minutes for Woodland Pond are in our library and on the portal. The information that we have, we want you to have. I can only tell you it's there. I can't spoon feed it to you. But these are the ways that you get assurance that the people that are in charge of Woodland Pond are not asleep at the wheel. And that's not to suggest that I have any idea of how the Amsterdam got to where it got to. All I can say to you is we are well suited. We do not have any direct competition. We have an amazing product. We have 300 staff members, and that's growing. All of these are signs of strong financial performance and the ability that we can assert to you and to your families that we are confident in the financial longevity. So I'll take some questions or comments. Halima, Jean, Ria. Just 1 second. We got to have the mic.
Michelle, thank you. It's my understanding that the Department of Health and the Department of Financial Services monitors CCRCs in this state. My question is, if that is so, how could this have happened? Who was sleeping at the wheel?
So
thank you.
I don't have the specific details of exactly how this all went. But what I can tell you is, and I tried to speak to this a little bit yesterday on my address, they have an oversight function, right? So every quarter, for example, we have to send in to the Department of Financial Services our census data, our cash flow projections for the next year, and a confirmation that we're meeting the minimum statutory liquid reserves, meaning they have a level we have to reach. We have to assert this to them and send in the proof. I can tell you we have been compliant with sending that information in. I cannot tell you the level of compliance with that reporting of other communities. I can only tell you what Woodland Pond does, right? So I can't tell you and stand up here and tell you that that information was or was not being disclosed to those entities. If it was not being disclosed, and that's speculating because I don't know the details, but if it was not being disclosed, it would be the responsibility of those departments to follow up. So there's a couple of moving parts here. The other thing is that one thing that we've learned through the multiple bankruptcies at the Amsterdam is that while Article 46 has a lot of protections for all of you, so a requirement that we pay your refund within 30 days of your apartment reoccupying, statutory reserve requirements, audited financial statements, the whole 9 yards, There are no provisions in Article 46 of what happens when a CCRC starts to be in financial trouble. So the regulators are kind of operating here without a compass. And they've been honest about that because the law does not speak to it. The law did not anticipate that people would get into this situation. So the question is, and this is where I'll be very curious to watch how this unwinds. The residents of that CCRC are going to Kathy Hochul and begging her to help, right? The regulators that are there already want to help, but there's laws in place that tell them what they can and cannot do. And if we play this forward, right, there are millions of dollars of refunds that are due for those residents, and it's their homes. It's unknown to me what specifically the residents want Governor Hochul to do, because she doesn't have a pot of money of $70 or $80 million to give to those residents, right? And in order to do some kind of a tax levy to create that, it would require legislative action. She also doesn't have apartment buildings or cottages for those people just out of the blue, just like we have a housing crisis for everyone else. It's a very complicated situation. I can tell you that the last two CCRCs that were possibly going to be looking at voluntary closure, which never ended up happening because they were bought out in New York, the regulators would contact us and say, how many of these residents could you take? Okay. But if we play that forward, let's say I had space. We don't have space because we're full. But what if we did? So then we're going to make a decision as an executive team and as a governance team to what? Bring residents in that we know have no resources, can't pay an entrance fee because their entrance fee is locked up at another community. So, and we're not affiliated with any of these entities, right? So I'm going to be asked to take in residents. Of course, I feel empathetic towards them, but we ultimately are beholden to you and our financial strength. So let's say I had 30 vacant units, but I know that these people don't have the ability to be financially underwritten. They can't pay an entrance fee. Who knows what their monthly service fee situation is? How can we then justify looking at all of you and saying we're going to let, of course, we're heartbroken for these people, but we're also not a charity organization. Our commitment is to you. What would the financials look like if we brought in 30 or 45 more people? And I'm not saying that we wouldn't, but it certainly couldn't be a long-term thing. It might be a temporary housing situation. So there's a lot to this. I think what needs to happen is we all need to keep a very close eye on what happens next. And I will commit to you, I'm not going to hide any of this information. As soon as new articles come out, you're going to hear it from me. You may get sick of hearing about it, but I think it's very important that we as a community are aware of exactly what's going on and exactly how this progresses. I think information is power always, but that is one thing I'm 100% committed to you. As soon as we have the information, you will have it. Another question or comment? Okay. So on that relatively somber note, I will say that we are done with the meeting for today. And those of you that have specific questions for Tom on cages, he's going to hold over and you can ask your specific questions until 2:36. It's now 2:35.